Please let me know if you see me.
I see ya.
I am having problems today.
I can hear the Discord too. Hi, Discord. Hello, people.
You can hear the Discord?
You can hear the Discord.
What do you mean?
I heard myself when I unmuted the stream.
Oh, okay. Okay. Is everyone seeing me okay? All right, I am indeed visible. Man, was that a lot of work. So I had to update XSplit, and then XSplit required a computer restart because it was trying to do something with my Symantec antivirus, and then my Lotro game client was outdated because it was using the admin client instead of the commercial client. And then Discord was updating, and it was like, hey, and now you want to do an overlay. Oops, that screws things up too. Technology! Hello, everyone, and welcome to Court of the Rings here on twitch.tv/LotroStream, youtube.com/LordOfTheRings/live, and facebook.com/Lotro. I am Lotro's community manager, Cordovan. I wasn't sure that I was going to make it live today, but I have. Welcome, everybody, to your weekend. Hope you've got good weekend plans in place. If they include lots of Lotro, hope you have a great time playing that. Yep, we're going to be questing a little bit today. We're also going to, hello, Dennis, over on Facebook, and answer some of your questions here today. And I'm going to debut some new music. So why don't I first introduce Druid's Fire. Hello, Druid's Fire.
Hello, Jerry. How you doing?
Good. And now I'm going to make us both shut up so that I can play some music for you all. Now, these are two new tracks from Update 23 that just got mastered. This is by Bill Darth Celtics Champagne. Darth Celtics is going to be doing the music here for Update 23, so I'm going to mute us, and I believe I've got the game sounds muted too, but let me double make sure I do. And then play some tunes for you. So we'll be back in just a bit. All right. Like I said, that was a new track here from Update 23, and you are back active here, Druid's Fire, on Discord. I've unmuted you.
Hello.
Hope you enjoyed that. I know we've got a lot of questions already about Update 23, so while we're making our way to Book 13, Chapter 2, which would be Kalpa Kota and the land of Forachel north of Evendim, through
Forachel.
the gate to the north. What was that?
It's Forachel. It's basically. It sounds a bit
Forachel?
Yiddish. Yeah, it's basically Finnish. So it's Forachel.
Nice.
Yeah. I tend to use the Professor Corey Olson School of Pronunciation. And by the way, it was his birthday yesterday, so tell him to get off your lawn, Jerry.
Nice. Okay, as we're making, let me see. Are we just going to fast travel there, or how do you want to get to...
We should probably just Mithril there, because there isn't really a quick way to get to Capicota.
Okay.
The only Hunter Port is up in Surikaila, which will be there a lot, but Capicota's, might as well just Mithril Point it.
Trying to figure out where that is on...
Stable Master Map.
Capicota.
Oh,
there we
yeah,
go.
Capicota. Yep.
All right, so I do have a lot of questions here. For those who don't know, we debuted Update 23 on Bullroar this past week here, and that preview has now ended. We do have release notes that you could find over on the Bullroar forums. This was first of several previews we'll be doing here. And I'm not going to go over all the release notes right now, although if ultimately we need to, we could do that. But I know we already have a lot of questions to get to, so I'm going to get to those in just a second here. Speak to the Losoth. Okay. Talk to Lassie. Hey, doggy. Hey, doggy. I bet I'm the only person who's ever made that joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not that old.
All right, so about that Mozo enchantment not combining. So here's the thing. This actually got checked in way late, after literally the night before we went live with the build there, and so that's why it didn't make it into the release notes. But what's to start off with about the non-stacking thing, that's not working as intended. It is supposed to snack. That is supposed to snack, yes. Motes of Enchantment are the new Ashes of Enchantment. We are renaming Ashes of Enchantment to Motes of Enchantment. And we're then going to be making your ashes are going to be called motes. They will stack with the new stuff that you get. And we're debuting a new kind of currency for the stuff for Update 23. So, in terms of not combining, that's not working as intended. I see there's a reflecting pool here too, huh? That's interesting.
You have to do the quest first before you can use it. But this is actually one of the most beautiful places in game. I mean, look at the sky, for pity's sake.
Yeah. It's got a kind of a Northern Lights sort of thing going on.
I mean, we don't really need to pick up any of the side quests because we're actually over level for what we're doing now.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, we are. Okay.
So, in the interests of getting you to Moria sometime before the end of the year, let's ignore side quests and go for the main party.
Woohoo! Straight to the party. You are a stranger here, a dwarf from the south. We don't see too many of your kind, and we welcome even fewer. Well.
Ding!
Okay. Strength, endurance, wisdom. I can do those things. Alright, so I need to talk to more peeps. Aristor, Emily, and Jomari. Are they on the map here too somewhere then? Yes.
Yeah.
They're just in the general
By the way,
area.
don't fall in the water. You would have a very bad time if you did.
Don't fall in the water?
Do not fall in the water. I mean, you can if you want to run back from the red circle.
Really? Why? What's wrong with the water? Why
People
is it
in
so...
chat, please be respectful. Swearing at the community manager is not very nice.
Ah, I haven't even seen the swearing in chat, so not only was it
Well,
not
that's
very
because
nice,
Southern
it was
Belle is-
completely ineffective.
You have used cuss words. They are super ineffective.
Yeah.
We have a puzzle.
All right, so some folks are saying, why so much pay to win? Let me actually take just a second to talk a little bit about that. So we've seen that feedback on the Bull Roar. One of the things that would be particularly helpful is, in particular, people are talking about some of the new items that are available in the loot box. It would be really useful to have direct comparisons with the new Update 23 gear. My understanding is, for the most part, that stuff is not best in slot, and that, per usual, the best in slot's going to be found from the content. It is higher than, say, your current 115 gear, but that's because it's, you know, meant for 120. So, you know, in terms of getting productivity on those kind of comments, it would be really useful if you, say, acquired things from the Update 23 content that you could compare, you know, of similar level there, that you could compare that stuff to. Then we can take a look at it and perhaps make adjustments as necessary. In terms of the locks on instances, at this time, I don't know of any plans to lift those locks. They're put in place so that people don't basically ransack the new instances, get all the stuff they'd ever need in terms of resources, and then never run them again. It's meant to space out the content and provide measured rewards in a way that's sustainable. So that's the purpose of those instance locks. And from what I understand, that's basically the way it's supposed to always be. I mean, I don't know why we would ever release some kind of instance that offered you a gated currency that we wouldn't put some kind of limit on, but that's working as intended. So I appreciate that some folks would just like to kind of grind their faces off in the first couple of days of the content to get all this stuff, but no. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's just not going to happen on the instance locks. If there's something I'm missing, though, regarding instance locks, maybe I don't have the full picture in my head here, I would appreciate kind of getting a better understanding of why it is you feel that we shouldn't have that gating in place.
I personally don't understand the fuss. I'm used to running Dungeons else game, and there's always a daily lock on loot. So
yeah, exactly. I don't know why
that.
we would ever not put a lock in place on that kind of thing. I mean, that's just kind of development 101. So, speaking to the question of why so much T3 gear in loot boxes, that's my understanding is that it isn't. And if it is, let me know. We can... Oh, I failed it. Shoot.
Well, it's because you have to do the items in the correct order.
Oh, really? Gosh,
yes, sir. It's a test. It's a puzzle. You should know puzzles. You play DDO, dude.
Yeah.
Read the quest text or
read the
look it up on the wiki like I did.
Jeez. Make me read the quest text.
This would be right up your alley. You're used to doing puzzles. Come on, Jer.
Yep. Let me remove the volume 2 stuff from my tracker just to help me figure out what the heck I'm doing. Alright, so I need to go back to the dude then to pick up the thing. Yep.
What
Because I
thing?
failed the quest.
He's right here.
Oh, I could just pick it up from
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. Get Jalmari give it to you?
Okay. It just says complete the rituals. So do I need to go back to the other quest giver?
I does your book 3, chapter 3 favor of wisdom? Who does it say to talk to? Or did
Well,
you
it said-
fail all 3 of them?
I guess I failed all. Well, let me speak to Lassie again. Yeah, because I failed the favor of wisdom, I need to retry it. So I got to re-pick it up again.
That's a. It should set.
All right.
Standing Stone, fix your game. Make it the quest giver over here.
So, unfortunately, I want to do this quest, but I clearly have an overwhelming amount of Update 23 content. I perhaps should just do that today. So
Yeah, we can just hang out and watch the Northern Lights.
Yeah. I don't really have time to sort through this puzzle while I'm getting asked this many questions. So what is the justification of putting locks on the upcoming instances? It's the same justification for why we would always have instance locks, and that is it allows us to offer a certain level of rewards commensurate with the goals of the update. So, you know, if, for example, you need to spend so much ash to get item X, we can't allow you to just get that in the first 24 hours if the plan is to run the entirety, say, of the content in order to get the item. So instance locks are just kind of a standard practice to get that stuff done. In the same way that we have raid locks, you know, and that sort of thing. I mean, that's just kind of, like I say, standard practice. You know, it sounds like maybe we have not always been good about having instance locks in place, but we certainly should have. It seems if we didn't, then that's a problem. So. Why change the name of the ash and keep the same pick of ash? That is a good question, and one I don't know the answer to. My guess is it's just, you know, originally it was Ashes of Gorgoroth, and because we're moving away from Gorgoroth content is why they renamed it to Ash of Enchantment. But why they are renaming it from Ash of Enchantment to Motes of Enchantment is a little less clear to me. I guess, yeah, honestly, I don't have a good answer for that. Can we get new features in PvP Etmoors? No, not at this time. But I would point out that Update 23 includes some significant changes to PvMP balance. These are a bit of a byproduct of the other general class and kind of game balance changes that Vastin put in place between the scaling back of masteries, sort of changing the curve of mastery acquisition, and then also cutting back the mob health to deal with that. What we have found, at least the PvMP folks who have been on Bullroar have found, is that freeps were brought down a little bit and creeps were brought up some with the scaling to 120 in particular, and that they're, at the very least, a lot closer to being right than they are currently on live between that balance of freeps and creeps. But also perhaps that maybe even creeps are edging out the freeps are a little bit too much here on Bullroar. So we'll have to kind of see where that lands. I don't think that creep being too strong sentiment is universal, so I think we need to get a little more analysis on that before we would make a decision on that. But it does sound like we're bringing things far more closer into balance in Update 23 here than is currently on live. So that's, I think, a good thing. And we've seen some pretty positive comments overall from the PvMP folks who have been on Bullroar. Am I aware there seems to be an issue with the Mac Bullroar client? Yes, I passed that along to the engineering team, but I have not heard back from them on that. You know what I find funny? Sammy says, the fact the PvMP community has been asking for balance work for quite a while, and SSG just passively balanced them. You know, it really goes down to a part of the balance challenge that's been in place for a long time with PvMP, which is that unlike some other games where you have one system directly for PvP and one for PvE, things get mixed up a bit in Lotro because any changes that are made to classes affect the Freeps, and any changes that are made to monsters tend to affect the creeps. And so in this particular case, with Vastin's overall balance changes, it's had a pretty dramatic increase on PvMP, even though that was not a direct intention of those changes. So, yeah, it is kind of funny that we're bringing things closer into balance without even kind of meaning to here. So but overall, I think, hey, we'll take it, right? So. Okay, so you've spammed the same thread, what, at least 6 or 7 times here, Mirkovic, and I did answer that question already. Will the cap for Motes and Ashes increase or will it stay the same? My understanding is it'll stay the same, and that's working as intended. Again, to prevent kind of a acquisition issues if people say grinding them out to the point that we couldn't really use them as a resource again. All right, it looks like I'm getting caught up on chat. Basically, I see the same 3 people asking the same questions about why 24-hour locks on instances. And I did answer that, I believe. And we are not deleting questions about locks, Gormiat. It's just simply a matter of if you're going to spam the same question over and 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 over
And be
and over in
disrespectful
chat,
about it.
yeah, and swear at us in chat, then yes, we will be deleting that. Nonetheless, that question has already been asked, and I did provide an answer to it.
Also, please bear in mind this iteration of Bullroar is just the first iteration, so feedback, respectful and constructive, would be most helpful to get your concerns out there. So jump in the threads and say what you mean, and they'll hopefully take it into account.
Yeah, exactly right. I think we'll have to have a conversation about that locks thing. But I'm not prepared to, speak on behalf of people who I haven't spoken to yet. The feeling of some folks that we should not be putting locks on instances is loud and clear. Amarniel, I was wondering if you noticed the glitch on Hunter class deeds. I assume you're talking about specifically Bullroar. I know I did see something about a Hunter class deed thing on Bullroar, but I'm not sure if there's something else I should be aware of. The new percentage-based 50 and 70% morale and power refills with 1-minute cooldown are absurdly overpowered, Haderb says. They can't be allowed in PvMP for either side. So, I noticed that Vastin had actually commented on that this morning, that those numbers were put in place, again, kind of last minute. This is our first Bull Roar preview, not our final preview for Update 23, and those numbers are going to change. Additionally, we're going to take the crafted potions and make them more competitive here before we release Update 23. So the reason we have the percentage in, say, the loot boxes is that way you don't have to gate it by various levels of whatever you're going to have to be. 10% is 10%. 20% is 20%, but I don't think we're going to stick with 50 and 70%. We're going to balance that out a little bit too, to make more sense. And like I say, we're going to take the tier 12 crafted potions and probably boost them up at least a little bit, if not more so. How about the new Tier 3, yay or nay? So the answer to that is it was not on this first Bull Roar preview, but for those who aren't aware, what we're going to be doing is transitioning out of T2C, at least for Update 23 and perhaps even longer term, and instead go to a Tier 3 system, which in practice is very similar to T2C, but is a little bit different in that it'll still offer really that greater challenge for greater reward mechanic that T2C offers, but be a little bit more supportable for a broader instance of content, and frankly, let the team do more of that kind of thing. Tier 3 is not in this first Bull Roar preview, and it will not be debuting live with Update 23. It'll be released at least a few weeks after the release of Update 23. I think largely due to the desire to make sure that the difficulty on Tier 1 and Tier 2 are where we want it to be. And then once we do that, we'll release the Tier 3 version of it so that the balance is where we want it to be for that particular challenge. MA working, so there will be a completely new currency, Mote of Enchantment, and a yet-to-be-declared new name. Double check here. I think the answer to that's yes, but in terms of not to be declared, I'm pretty sure it was available on this Bull Roar here. Yeah, Embers of Enchantment. That's the cap level stuff, currency. So we're going to have Motes of Enchantment and Embers of Enchantment.
People keep, using that word pay to win. I do not think it means what you think it means.
Well, I appreciate the feedback. People can say what they want. It's all right.
I know, but I always keep thinking of that scene from The Princess Bride every time somebody throws that word around, because it generally doesn't mean what it actually means, I don't know.
Boromund, when is the Farmers Fair and any cool new items coming? I have to look on the forums, see when Farmers Fair is here. It should already be scheduled, and yes, it has got some new stuff with it. Let me actually double check here real quick on the Farmers Fair. Farmers Fair will run from August 30th at 10 a.m. Eastern through September 17th, being shut off on September 18th at 3 a.m. And yep, it's got some new stuff that I'm not going to spoil now.
CP of Landroval is correct. The ashes were meant to stack and they're not. That will get corrected.
I'm not at all surprised to see the kind of instance lock sort of passion that we're seeing on the forum. When we've been seeing that on the forums, we're seeing it today in our chat room here as well. So, we'll have to talk about it. But I am not in a position to make any changes other than to express, which I have been already, that there are some people with very passionate opinions about whether or not we should have instance locks on the instances in Update 23.
Dontail is actually correct. Best in slot comes from T2 and T3. Gel,
go ahead.
I'll address that in chat. But the bottom line is, Gel, I actually do some endgame. You just don't see it on stream. So there.
So Gil, Stone of the Tortoise, please make this XP Disabler a passive buff so that we can equip pocket items at lower levels. We get that one a lot. I don't know, man. I mean, sure, I don't see why not. But for whatever reason, that's just not the way it was implemented. I don't know. I don't know why it's not. I've been hearing that for as long as I've been doing this, so I don't know why it is the way it is. My guess is it's because one is based on an item property and the other one would be an engineering sort of world property sort of thing. But that's kind of a tech reason that I can't directly speak to. It does make some sense that it would be passive. All right, let me move on over to YouTube for a second. Stop talking about irrelevant stuff and fix room keepers. Nice. We are going to be doing class balance work. There's a little bit coming in a patch next week, particularly it's warden bug fixes more than anything else, and that's going to be a 22.5 that'll be released sometime mid next week. We unfortunately have some extended downtime we need to do for some kind of server maintenance thing that our ops folks are telling us we got to do. But as part of that, we're doing a small patch to update 22, and that's going to have some warden bug fixes. And we are full steam ahead here on update 23. And my understanding is for the point updates for 23, we're going to be working on some additional classwork there. Can I answer the Felgoth and High Elf questions? Is it possible to change the race from an elf to a High Elf? No. Sorry. And should we have a housing area in Felgoth? Yeah, that's a cool idea. Will we ever get a Vault Keeper in Felgoth? That also sounds like something we should maybe do. Any Hunter Yellow Line tweaks next year? I don't know if it'll be next year or sooner than that, but I would imagine we will see some Hunter work as part of our overall class balance work that we'll be seeing. All right, now over to Facebook. Lower the cooldowns on Lore Masters, Lightning Storm, and Nature's Fury. I would love to see that myself. Da-dum-dum-dum. Anyone here on server Gilrain? Nope. And I'm not seeing a lot of other stuff here on Facebook. Anything about Champion Dual Wield Bug? I did not see that in the 22.5 release notes, but I will continue to let the team know about that one.
You're about to time out of the game.
Oh, God. All right. Ugh. In wisdom you have been sent to me, and only with wisdom will you earn the favor of the Lumivaki. Your honor will speak with you until you earn the favor of wisdom. Complete my task. Look next to me. There you will find things of importance, things that help us survive these cold lands. Put these things in their proper order, then return to me. Hell, you know what the proper order is, through wisdom, of course. Warmth is of great importance in these frozen lands, so fire is a boon companion. Even more important is water, for without water there is no life. Once you have fire and water at your disposal, you've done must, but do not rest yet. You must then have weapons to protect yourself, but first obtain food enough to lend yourself the strength to wield them. Before you obtain any of these, a wanderer must have clothing. So my guess would be the order would be clothing. Well, actually, yeah, so I would think clothing, water, fire, weapons. Would that make sense to you?
Nope.
Well, first is going to be clothing. But it said you need clothing and then you need water in order to survive. It's more important than fire, even. So would it be clothing, water, fire?
Go on.
Food, weapons?
Try that and see what happens.
Yeah. Yay! I'm a wiener. Alright. Awesome. Yes, Gel 5. That is on our engineering task board to both improve UI scalability as well as provide support for 4K monitors. There's no timeline associated with it at this time. It's on, the engineers have a long page, a long spreadsheet, shall we say, of things that they're going to need to do. And it's on that list. It's somewhere after 64-bit client. But yes, I do expect us to get that work done here at some point. The real size. Let me make sure I read your statement.
That's Els from Faded. He's right famous.
I don't know where is this statement. I'm not seeing it here. Oh, hello everyone. Okay, I see it. Hello everyone. Just making sure you read my statement. Okay. Still not seeing the statement, but I have seen your thread on the forums, if that's what you're talking about. So. Do we plan to add Tier 3 to the previous instances, or is this just the new instances? Unknown at this time. At the very least, it'll be the new instances and probably the operation going forward, depending on the popularity of them and how well it works and et cetera, et cetera. That is something we could retroactively put in place, but it's more likely, I think, that we'll be seeing that moving forward. You just said you'll repost it for me. There you go. But I still am not seeing anything in chat. So I'm guessing you're talking about your forum post. And yes, I saw that yesterday. Actually, I saw that Wednesday. So no Light of Arendelle on the new gear, correct. Of course, there's no shadow, so that makes sense. But doesn't this mean we are now forced to carry 2 armor sets if we want to run Mordor raids and content? That's a good bit of feedback, but it is true that we do not have Light of Arendelle on the new gear. Thanks, Soren on Facebook. Yeah, I think, I think to some extent you're right. CP of Landreval, that, you would have to justify the work to retrofit T2C, get rid of that and replace it with Tier 3 in a way that still offers the kind of challenge that you want with T2C. So I think, frankly, it would make more sense to just leave it be than do the work to try to tweak it. But I do think we'll be seeing this Tier 3, assuming it goes well and is well received, moving forward here. What's with this base stone?
It's one of the side quests.
Okay.
We going worm hunting.
Yes, Sammy. Vastin has been reading your PVMP stuff. So I don't know that we're going to get what you're looking for here in time for update 23, but it does also seem possible that we will see further tweaks since we're in a relatively good place here. With update 23 on Bullroarer, that we'll see some further tweaks to PVMP. But I don't know that we're going to have time to do that, but we'll see. Oh, there's nothing there.
Do I wait for it to respawn?
Yeah.
I think that other guy was kicking him.
Oops. Wrong button. Someone was, I saw a criticism on the forums about, why do you headbutt things all the time in your stream? I do it because it's awesome. That's why. Because I'm a dwarf, man. Why shouldn't I be headbutting things?
That's why I need to get you to Moria so you can do some super dwarven action here.
Yep.
But we've got 3 whole books to get through.
I don't care if it's not the optimal choice to be using here. I'm going to headbutt things because I can.
They're not exactly bright sometimes. Come on.
Yeah.
Alright, got that one done.
Yeah. I hear you. Someone is like, you've got to turn your Hobbit presence. How could you leave it's like the OCD thing, right? It sits there and people are like, oh my god, do it. I understand.
Yeah, we used to do that to Rick too back in the day.
What made us switch it to T3? So the intention is to make it more supportable. So right now, when they do T2C, it's not an insignificant amount of work on their front part. They end up doing a whole bunch of kind of specialized, shall we say, development work just to make the T2C version of it. And what their intention to do is have it be more of a consistent scaling between Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. That allows them to focus their time to make Tier 3 be what they want it to be without having to spend literally several dozen, if not more, hours to kind of hammer the T2C aspects of it into shape. So it's a little, by scaling things more consistently, it removes a lot of that kind of mindless work and allows them to focus on the things they want to focus on. So that's the why. And in terms of the naming, it's just to differentiate that, you know, unlike the truly kind of old-style handcrafted nature of T2C, aka, let's make two versions of the dungeon. It's going to be more along the lines of one version of the dungeon with better scaling into T2C. Sammy, I believe that is true in regard to T3 enhancements, but I don't know for sure, as I would need to ask one of the systems devs about that. Yeah, exactly, James A. T2C is designed around the T2 version. You essentially create two different fights that go on simultaneously, but ensure one doesn't break the other. That's right. So the intention is this is going to be more fluid in terms of scaling. Well, still, you're right, as well, that, you know, T2C tends to have some kind of special sauce things, some special mechanics, things like that. That's not going away. In fact, the hope is to make that more supportable in the future here. But it's going to be a little less kind of special sauce.
Oh my god, it's Uger. Everybody point at Uger and say, blame Uger.
When is the next Bull Roar test? Stay tuned. We're having those conversations now. There's some thought we might be able to get something out maybe next week, but then also maybe not, because kind of a mix of scheduling issues, tech issues inside of the building, and other concerns. Up to and including maybe QA, one of our QA guys is going on vacation for a few days.
What? Game devs are allowed to take time off?
No, they're not.
Come on. I thought those community managers are not allowed to take time off.
Yeah, right. But stay tuned. Stay tuned on that. We're actually actively discussing that in email this morning about perhaps doing an additional Bull Roar that we weren't originally intending to necessarily put out due to the feedback we received this week. But again, we don't want to put that out unless you've made substantive changes and have something new to show for it, basically. So. Will we have the original Challenger titles? Yes-ish. So one of the things that we're working to do is to try to resolve the perennial drama issues surrounding the original Challenger titles. One of the things we're thinking about doing is having it be basically a time-gated rather than one-and-done title. So, for example, people who complete it in the first, I don't know, 48, 76 hours, whatever we end up wanting it to be, will get the title, rather than who's the absolute first to complete a new raid. Because as the forums will tell you, has there ever been an original Challenger title that didn't devolve into months of name-calling and accusations and months of kin drama? Along with perhaps people finding optimal ways to achieve that title and or transferring servers to grab it when someone else on their server's already grabbed it, etc., etc. So one of the things we're hoping to maybe do is mitigate that while still offering a, yeah, you were among the first to get the title. We don't have a new raid coming out till after update 23, but that's what we're thinking anyway. Where am I going? What am I doing?
Right here. He didn't have a quest ring over his head for some damn reason. I have a suggestion for the whole original Challenger thing. Make it so that it doesn't transfer servers at all. If you get it on one server, you can't take it someplace else, or have it like a cooldown. Because I've seen it in other games where if you transfer your character from server A to server B, you can't gain any world realm first, server first.
I don't know,
for like 2 months or something.
We've had those conversations internally, and I still don't know that that's a better solution than having a one that opens it up to a few more people and removes the drama.
Actually, I like the notion of having it available to anybody who gets it in like the first X amount of hours, whatever. Yeah. That sounds pretty cool to me.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to port back to Sri Kyla.
Any news on Minas Morgul? Not really. That's going to be after, probably next year sometime here. How soon after update 23 can we see the new instance cluster? It's going to be in one of the initial point updates. I don't know if that's going to be 23.1, 0.2, 0.3, whatever that ends up being. But the answer is within a few weeks to a few months. Oh, that's not it. That's the wrong person. Who am I talking to? Yeah, here we go. I promoted Nora. Is guild crafting abandoned for good? I will say probably not.
All right.
It just has not been something they're doing in tier 2 crafting. Also, speaking of Anorian and Doomfold crafting, I don't know that there are additional tiers planned for those two things. They are a little bit specific to that content, but perhaps. Nothing has been set in stone, by the way, on this title stuff. It's just something we're considering. Because what we don't want to have is a repeat of what we just saw with the last original Challenger title. I think to some extent we'd probably rather not have an original Challenger title than have that happen again. Dr. Pitar, I tried to contact on Lotro forums but didn't get any replies. Is there another way to contact me? I can get in touch with me on Facebook, Twitter, through the Lotro channels. I don't know quite what you asked on the forums. If I can't answer it, I generally don't reply to it. I also do get a lot of PMs, generally in the range of, oh God, at least 40 or 50 a day, so I don't always get the opportunity to reply to them all. But if there's something specifically that I can reply to, I usually do reply to that on PM. Keep in mind, I can't deal... It is not my place to do customer service issues. So if you're calling me about, or pinging me about, say, an account support question or a tech support question, you're better off going through help.standingstonegames.com on that sort of thing. Sometimes I can, you know, ping CS and say, yo, this person sent me a PM. But that's really about the extent of what I have the ability to do to resolve those kind of customer service questions. Can I read the release notes for 22.5? Interested in those warning bug fixes? Yeah, you know what? Let me do that. Now this is not yet fully signed off on by the dev team, so I might have written something wrong, or something, you know, that's hoped to be checked in for the final build may not make it or get deprecated or otherwise for some reason not make it in. So basically take this stuff with a grain of salt in that this is kind of an early state of the notes, but yes, I would be happy to read what I've got. Fix an issue with the look of character necks while wearing the anniversary armor. Fix an animation issue with the dwarf in a barrel housing item. Made the Peacock Cap and Peacock Bonnet rewards from the 2018 Summer Festival dyeable now. We've restored some missing water in the Marish, and for Herald of the Rohirrim, you may no longer see fast skill both alive and dead. Now, the Warden trait stuff. The Warden trait Persevere now properly affects healing from Ranged Persevere, Ranged Safeguard, Ranged Celebration of Skill, and Ranged Restoration. The Warden Blue Line Specialization bonus now properly affects healing from Ranged Persevere, Ranged Safeguard, Ranged Celebration of Skill, and Ranged Restoration. The Warden trait Persevere no longer affects healing from Conviction, because that was never actually intended to be the case. The Warden trait Indefatigable now increases healing from Ranged Restoration. The Warden Redline bonus +5 Warden damage over time now properly affects the damage over time effects from Power Attack, Mighty Blow, and Unerring Strike. The Warden traits Bane of Shadow and Foe of the Darkness now properly affect the following skills' initial attack: Brink of Victory, Desolation, Impressive Flourish, Surety of Death, and War Cry. The Warden skill The Boot now deals proper damage when used from battle memory. The Warden trait Thick Skin now properly enhances the mitigation ratings buff to Dance of War and Conviction. Damage over time effects from the following skills now stack when applied by different Wardens: Resounding Challenge, Assailment, Piercing Strike, Precise Blow, and Spear of Virtue. And then damage over time icons for a bunch of things now match. Miscellaneous. Fix an issue with some facial features not displaying in the character portrait, dressing room, or character select panel. And then fix an issue where item links and chat messages would not function if too many were linked. So that's what I got so far. I'm trying to keep up on chat. Man, you guys are talking a lot to me. Who do you speak to about streaming the game? That would be me, MA Working. Get in touch with me through, again, either Facebook or Twitter or the forums or whatever, and I'll take a look at your Twitch channel and see what's up there. If it's good enough, and it seems like a good fit for Lotro Stream. We'll be doing that. No, at this point we do not have plans to allow sort of mail with mithril coins to take place. It's just had too strong an impact on our anti-fraud and anti-spam efforts. We'll see. But if there's some kind of alternate system we could put in place, but whatever we did would need to not reintroduce that kind of problem. I don't know what the plan is for which keys will open the new loot boxes, whether it's the Black Steel or some new key. That'll be in the notes when that stuff is decided, so. I'm aware that I went over a little bit. I just started late too, so. All right, and that is going to wrap it up then here with Court of the Rings on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. I saw a lot of passion on the stream today, and so I appreciate your passion for Lord of the Rings Online. We are listening to your feedback here on both Bull Roar and here and on the forums and elsewhere. So keep it coming. We appreciate your time here. Again, the best way to get this stuff done is to be constructive with your feedback. And that's been largely the case here today. So thank you very much for being a part of it. We have got shows all weekend long right here on our Twitch channel, and you can find that schedule over on twitch.tv/LotroStream. Corey's up, Druid's Fire's up, and a whole bunch of other people are doing cool stuff today. Hope you have a good weekend here in
Corey is not up, actually.
Nope, Corey's not up? Oh.
Nope, he's at Baymouth this weekend with members of Mythgard, so you're stuck with me again, sorry.
That's true. Oh, hey, speaking of this weekend, this is the final weekend for the Summer Festival Encore, so if you do have encore-ish kind of things that what you need get done, might want to do that this weekend. Have fun, everybody, and I will talk to you again soon.